My name is Trevor Fleener. I am originally from Portland, Oregon. I came to St. Chris because every other treatment center I had been to wasn't really sticking, and I came on the recommendation of a good friend. My experience, St. Chris kind of helped me build like a structure and a lifestyle that I needed to move forward. I chose to work at St. Chris after treatment because I really enjoyed my own experience and I wanted to kind of give back to the guys that came in after me.
My name is T. Rasmussen. I am from Bloomington, Indiana originally. I came to St. Chris because I, for lack of a better term, couldn't stop drinking. I also had a problem with drugs, but by the time I got here, it was mostly just alcohol. My treatment experience, it was pretty good. This was my fourth rehab that I had been to, and I didn't really know what to expect at this one. I kind of came into it with zero expectations. I just knew that I needed to get sober. All of the guys here were really supportive. I came through with a really good house. The clients are kind of what made this place for me and for my treatment experience, and then also like all of the techs and counselors. The reason why I started working here is I had actually had a different job whenever I got out of treatment, but I came back because originally my goal was always to be a counselor, and so this seemed like a really good stepping stone for me. And I decided to go back to school and pursue that, and this has been a great opportunity.
I'm Connor Allison. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I came to St. Chris because I developed a very heavy drug addiction. It started after getting put on painkillers from sports, and then I just couldn't stop. Moved on to lots of illegal drugs and drinking, and I was actively trying to kill myself, but refusing to acknowledge it. I had hit my rock bottom, and I came to St. Chris because I had just given up. It wasn't my first treatment, but it was the first one where I felt like I was surrounded by a good community of guys who were all like-minded, had goals, and were just tired of it and wanted to try to make the most out of our lives. And that was the best part about St. Chris for me, was my community of guys that I had, and then the staff. I looked up to all of them. They all had something I want, and they would push me instead of just letting me skirt by and be complacent. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to work here, was because I looked up to the staff and they helped me so much, and also just to stay plugged into the community. And so I never really left, but so far I'm trying to give back to the guys that are clients now and just do what the techs taught me.
So my name is Luke Lowry. I'm from in and around this area, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I grew up in Zachary specifically. So I came to St. Christopher's because I'd been to several treatments before, and this didn't really work, and it was all just kind of like a 1 week thing or 2 week thing, or like most like a month or two, and none of them really stuck in any sort of way. And so I had a friend of mine who had been through St. Christopher's, and back whenever things got really, really bad, I reached out to him and he said, I think you should go to this place. It was great for me. It worked out really well. And so I gave it a call. And of course, like my mom and the girl I was dating at the time really had a big influence on it. And so, I don't know, I just thought, all right, well, I have nothing else left to lose, so I'm just gonna go with it. And so I came, and at first, it was kind of terrifying. I had the same mentality that I always did before. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna, go to sober living or whatever afterward. And then my counselor at the time and my mother convinced me to do otherwise. And they're like, just do whatever they say you have to do. What you were doing before did not work. And also, another thing that kind of really, really helped me out a lot was somebody told me whenever I got to treatment okay, so your purpose in the past was to seek pleasure, be a pleasure-seeking individual. And that's normal. A lot of people do that, but it hasn't been working for you, so figure out something else. And so that leads into why I wanted to come here to work, because I thought, okay, well, what's something that I can choose as my purpose in life that is sustainable and helpful to myself and others. And okay, well, it was to help other people, try to be as helpful to others and myself as I can. And so I thought, well, this is a good place to do that. And whenever I was nearing my end of treatment here at St. Christopher's, somebody suggested, it might be a good idea for you to work here. I think you'd really, really do well, and it'd be, fulfilling for you. And so I agreed, and I said, all right, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And so I've been here ever since, which has been about 2.5 years at this point. So, yeah.
My name is Michael Ramos. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I came to STC because I was suicidal, and I was a drug addict with no hope in life at all. My best option was to stop living, I thought. My experience at STC was marked with a lot of good times and a lot of times where I struggled as well. I now look back on it and wish that I could be in treatment most days. I wanted to come to work here because it seemed like it was a very fun job. Everybody who worked here was usually having more fun than me when I was a client, and so yeah, it just seemed like a fun workplace. And also, I wanted to help new addicts and alcoholics coming into the program because I knew how hard at times it was for me. So.
Hi, I'm Travis Weisbrod. I'm from Northern California, the Bay Area. I came to St. Christopher's Addiction Wellness Center in 2011. I had a crippling opiate addiction to prescription painkillers, and this was my first treatment experience. I was scared. I'd never been to treatment. I didn't know what to expect, and it was completely the opposite of what I expected. I really expected basically treatment to be, kind of similar to jail or a homeless shelter, and this was awesome. It was like regular life to me. The people that I was in treatment with were all people who shared very similar experiences to my own. I made a lot of close friends while I was here, and the staff here was super helpful as well and made me feel very comfortable and like I was getting better. I continued to stay here and work at St. Christopher's after I graduated because I really wanted to give back to the same community that helped me out. I also felt pretty uniquely positioned to be able to help the guys that were coming through the program because I had just gone through it. And also, I really looked up to the other employees that were here while I was in treatment, and I wanted to work alongside those guys because of how much they did for me.